For years, the media and pundits have painted Donald Trump as a bumbling moron or unhinged crazy person. His critics say he's totally reckless and governed purely by impulse, craziness, insanity, whatever. I think we should take a look at the evidence on this. In the first place, let's look at his election history. Back in 2015, when Trump announced his presidential bid, the press almost universally scoffed. They almost entirely scoffed and said there was no way that he'd ever be president. CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, etc. They were clowning on Trump, and they thought it was going to be absurd. And especially if you looked at like the late night comedians and stuff like that, they all thought it was a joke that Trump was going to be president. I remember specifically this one guy, what's his name? John Oliver. I think he's like a British guy or something. I don't watch late night anymore, so I don't know. But this guy, I did see clips of him. He's begging, saying, "Trump, please run, please run." Because, you know, the inference was that there's no way the Republicans can win if Trump runs again. He literally begged him on air, do it, run, Trump, please run, please. He's sitting there begging. Boy, did that guy have to eat his words. Anyway, that's kind of what went on there. And the major the zeitgeist was, yeah, there's no way Trump's going to win. But what did he do? He won. He used his rallies for direct voter connection. Instead, he bypassed the traditional media and went with his rallies, and he went with social media. And it helped sweep him to victory. But of course, then further with his election history, in 2020 he loses to Biden, but in 2024, and he is again given no chance. Okay, once more in 2024, there was no way. I mean, the guy, he had been impeached twice. He was facing multiple criminal indictments and civil charges in multiple states. He was accused of being an operative for the Russians, you know, a Russian plant, and of attempting to overthrow the United States government on January 6th. You had a lot of bad stuff against him, right? The polls all said that there was not a chance that he was going to win, or at the very least, Kamala was going to come out ahead. There was just no chance. He wasn't supposed to win after all that stuff. He made it through somehow, and he took all the swing states. He took the popular vote, which hadn't been done by Republicans in quite some time. And he regained Congress for the Republicans. It was a resounding success. And all the pundits and all the polling and everything said that he was wrong. What is he, just super lucky? He's fallen ass backwards into becoming leader of the free world? Or maybe he's doing something right. Maybe he has some kind of plans or something. Let's look at some of his policy decisions. He keeps surprising, even stunning pundits, naysayers, and critics with his policy initiatives and decisions. For instance, the big one for me was he got Roe v. Wade overturned. I didn't think in a million years he was ever going to get Roe v. Wade overturned. Did anybody think so? I voted for him because he said he would, but did I believe it? No, I didn't believe it at all, but somehow he did it. He got the right judges in and put enough pressure here, there, and the other place. And something that had been around for as long as I could remember, since I was old enough to remember anything, was somehow gone. He did that somehow. Tariffs, his tariff policies. Okay, almost all of the economists and analysts said that Trump's tariffs would estrange our allies and enrage our enemies and cause economic collapse. It was going to be economic Armageddon and start World War III likely or something. Everything Trump does supposedly is going to start World War III, but he trips his toe on the way to work and World War III starts or something. These dire predictions did not happen. Trump did not enact these things on a whim. He didn't just on a whim decide to, he wanted Roe v. Wade or to set up tariffs, for instance. Trump had been talking about setting up greater tariffs since the 1980s, and numerous interviews throughout throughout that period. And even in his book, Art of the Deal, he talked about how he was going to he wanted to initiate tariffs, and that's the way we should be. This is not a new thing, is what I'm saying, that he just came up with. He got drunk and said, let's put tariffs on the rest of the world. This is a plan. Whether you agree with it, whether it's good or not, it's not about his stupid insanity that brings him to this. Let's look at Iran. There was no way he could take out their nuke capabilities. And it'd be crazy to start it. I mean, Iran is kind of a proxy for China. And we shouldn't mess with them, right? And even if you do, you're never going to get their nuclear facility. It's buried way too deep, behind too much concrete, and defended too well. And it will start World War III and Armageddon again, too. Trump obliterated their nuclear capabilities. Iran, a Muslim fanatic state, does not have access to a world-ending weapon because of Trump's actions, because he thought he could do it. And he was right. He did it against what everyone else said. Attack Iran is not something he came up with because he woke up one morning with a headache or something. He was talking about the Ayatollah regime had to be gotten rid of. He's been talking about it for years, ever since the debacle with our slaves our captives. You know, he's been talking about this for decades, and now he does it. He's numerous interviews and his books and stuff. So it's not something he came up with yesterday. He has a plan. Then you have Maduro in Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, a narco-terrorist. Imagine an action movie where the protagonist was an evil dictator who was also an international drug dealer and a terrorist, and where the good guys fly into the evil dictator's country and snatch him up from his heavily guarded home to bring him back to the United States to pay for his evil deeds. That sounds like a cheesy, stupid afternoon action movie that you might want to watch if there's no football on or something. It's like, it's an absurd premise. It's an absurd idea for a story, but it freaking happened. He did it. It didn't seem possible. It still doesn't seem possible when you go over all the facts. He did it, but he did it, and that came off flawlessly. And I got to say one more thing about this and that's it. Here's something that I'm guessing, and this may be the case, I don't know, but you got to consider three things. China, number one, China is the biggest threat to America, okay? That's arguably the case. It's almost certainly the case. In fact, it is. Iran and Venezuela are both oil rich, and they export between 70 and 90% of their oil to oil poor China. Chinese don't have oil. As vast as their land is, they have to import it because they don't have it. So Iran and Venezuela were exporting up to 90% of their oil to China. Guess who's in control of both of Iran and Venezuela's oil exports now? It's the United States. What is that, an accident? Is that another happy accident? Or is it maybe something that Trump is actually planning? But if you want to think he was a moron, you can't think of any such possibility. But I think you ought to think of something. I think you ought to think more wisely about that. And even with his tweets, you know, he says stuff that I think is stupid sometimes, and it's usually agitating. It's certainly agitating for the left all the time, but he uses those things as bargaining chips to intimidate people, other countries, nations, whatever, or to comfort them, or to provoke them. And he does that with people too. And I'm telling you, there is reason behind it. You may not agree with the reason, but it's not just insanity. Look, I'll end here. Whether you love Trump, hate him, or you're perplexed by the guy like I am, you can't deny that the man has racked up political wins that require planning, timing, and execution. It is not the work of an insane person flailing about impulsively. But if you want to believe Trump is just a crazed moron bumbling through leadership situations, that's fine. But critics underestimating Trump is precisely what has made Trump leader of the free world twice. All right, thank you.